Boruto, episode 36, The Graduation Exam Begins. This episode, I would say, was definitely awesome. Fairly simple, mostly action, but we did get some cool story elements. Mostly, I would say, the story really came from the fact that this, of course, is the evolution from Naruto, where we get to see Kakashi come back, oddly enough for the third time, because they did it a second time during Shippuden as well. But we get to see him come back, and he's the proctor for the exam. We get to see Konohamaru, Anko, as well as Shino as like his bodyguards. He comes back with the bells, and he does one bell this time instead of three, because he'd probably just have a bunch of having bells on his belt. But he comes back with the bell, and it's the evolution of what he used to do before, where it's like it was either the team works together and they pass, because more than anything, like there's nothing worse than someone who doesn't support the team that they're already with. So you either pass if you do that, or you fail if you don't. And now we're doing it as far as, excuse me, not just like a simple, three-man squad like we had with Team 7, which was before they were officially Team 7, but now it's the entire class. And I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh, that's an interesting evolution where they give the same ideals to the kids, but now it's an entire group of kids. And I thought it was really fun how it played out, because not only did we get to see a lot of the kids, of course, Boruto, which of course they point out the fact that he is exactly like his dad. No matter how much he wants to be the exact opposite, he is exactly his dad. He is his father as far as, impulse and just every option that he chooses to be, when being good or being bad, is exactly like his dad. So he's got that. He does have the skills of Sasuke, where it's like, oh, even Kakashi says, like, even in my eyes, because Kakashi can actually say that, that's how cool he is, even in my eyes, you're cut above the rest, and you are not only at the level of beginning, but you have the skills and like the confidence to be at the level of a tuning. Like that's how good he is as a fighter. And then from, if you go from Sakura's standpoint, he's also very smart, because in the beginning, even though he had like that dumb moment like his dad, where it's like, school, I don't care, he was able to pass that test no problem. Like he didn't have to steal the answers like everyone else. He was just like, oh yeah, I didn't even have to study for a test like that, and he got 100%. And I thought that was really interesting. So he has like elements of all three of Team 7. And then Sadara has probably, I would say, the best two, which is, of course, Sakura and Sasuke, because despite Naruto's, fighting prowess, as far as mentally, he was a dumb dude sometimes. Like, he was just real stupid. So Sadara has, like, the two best elements, and then Boruto just has, like, all three of their personalities kind of blended into one. So it was kind of cool that they kind of note that, like, you're just like your dad, you're so impulsive, but then he pulled off, the test like it was nothing, just like Sakura did during the practical, or during the written exam, or when it was the tuning exam before they, I guess, they switched it up, but, they do the written exam and stuff like that, where they hint at, everyone having to, steal the answers from other people and stuff like that. So it was definitely cool. Like, I just love the way that all played out. And then, he does the Sasuke thing when he's fighting against Kakashi, where, in the original series, Kakashi underestimated Sasuke when they first fought, and Sasuke, like, was just about to touch the bell, or, like, he, like, tapped it with his finger, and then Kakashi, like, pushes him off. And it's like, well, I underestimated this kid. And Boruto did the same thing when he does his Boruto stream, and it caught Kakashi off guard, where it's like, I didn't think he had a move like that, and he shoots at him at super speeds, and he's bending backwards, and then Boruto kind of pulls a Kakashi move, where he comes from, up underground, and I thought that was just really cool. And he was about to grab the bell, or I guess technically he did, but once again, substitution, boom, he just had a leaf in his hand. So, he's a great fighter, he's very smart, definitely capable, but, going along with the sort of Sasuke route of things, he's very confident in what he can do. Like, he has the skills, but he's overly confident. He's cocky in his own skills, which leads him down the path of, I'm just going to do this for myself. Like, even if I have my friends helping me out, like Mitsuki takes on Shino, and he's like, you go on ahead. And then Boruto's just trying to take down Kakashi. So it was just interesting watching that. But it was definitely a cool fight. I think all the action in this was actually really well done. Boruto versus Kakashi was really cool. The beginning of that fight I thought was really funny, because Kakashi, like, drops out of the tree and does, like, a drop kick. And he didn't know that it was a shadow clone, but he kicked him out of this tree that was insanely high up in the air. And then he was like, poof, and it was like, oh, a shadow clone. And I'm like, wouldn't he have died from that? Like, I know Sasuke and Naruto survived, like, when they had their first big fight. I know they were surviving stuff that should have been impossible, but it was like Curse Mark versus Ninetales. So, yeah, they had, like, some extra stuff to survive those insane hits. Boruto's just a normal kid. Like, he's good, but he's still just a normal kid, and he was like a million miles in the air. And I was like, wouldn't he have died if he actually did hit the ground? So, and I'm sure Kakashi could have found a way to save him, but it was just funny to me that he just drop kicked him so hard and he just knocked him right off that branch. And I was like, that probably would have actually killed him if there wasn't a shadow clone. If he just fell, to the ground, he would have died for that, I think. But I thought that was just a funny way to start it. But it was definitely a cool fight. Then they get on the ground, and it's just crazy. Then we got some other cool fight sequences with Konohamaru. He was like judo chopping people out, and he goes up against Sada and Sumeri. And I thought that was pretty cool too. That's like a small fight that takes place in the episode, and I'm hoping we get to see a cool continuation of that in next week's episode. But he's going up against the two of them. He deals with Sada being able to dodge like the shuriken and stuff. It was like, oh, you've awakened your Sharingan. He deals with Nue and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I would love to see him actually pull off the Rasengan again because we haven't seen that in a minute. I've just always liked the Rasengan. Like visually, I always thought the Rasengan was one of the coolest looking moves. Like I love the Chidori more as a technique because it's like a cool lightning kill move. But as far as like just looking at the Rasengan, like when people just do it when they're like teaching, it's just like it's a cool little glowing spiral, but you can see it actually spinning on the inside. Animation wise, I always just thought it looked really really cool as a technique. So I would love to see Konohamaru actually have to pull that off, like if he got trapped or something, because all the kids are teaming up on Anko. If they beat her and then transition to him and he gets trapped, like if Iwabe does Mud Wall or something, I would love to see him use the Rasengan. So hopefully we get to see that. I doubt he'll go super crazy with like summoning techniques and all that, but I thought it was really cool. That was like a small little fight that we got to see, and then the Anko stuff was actually pretty awesome. It was cool watching her fight. She takes on the Shikacho trio, which is a really cool scene. I think that's where. If I had to pick like one scene for this episode, I'd say that's where they kicked up the animation. Because there was a scene where, like when Shikadai was dodging and he's doing like these super quick backflips, I was like, I can tell the animation was kicked up just a little bit. And the scene when Anko was in midair after she dodges the Shadow Possession Jutsu, she's in midair, and so Chocho tries to hit her with the expansion, and then Inojin tries to hit her with the drawing, and she just shoots snakes out of both sides, destroys the drawing, and then she wraps the snakes around Chocho's hand, and then has them travel down her arm. And during that scene, I could tell the animation was so fluid. And I was like, it was like just quick little shots, but I was like, I could tell the animation was kicked up just in those little moments. So I love those scenes. It was weird to see Anko actually use the snake skills because this is something that it was like a weird inside look in this episode. I've never really thought too hard about what it looks like when they use the snakes. Like it was her, and then of course Orochimaru. They always, in the original series, Anko had like a full-on jacket, and of course Orochimaru was always wearing like his cloak, or like his robe outfit. So it was always like the snakes come out, it's just like a magical sleeve, like they just come out of the sleeves. I always kind of thought they probably like come out of the person's arms. It's like a summoning jutsu right out of the body, and I'm sure that's technically the case. But in this, with Anko no longer wearing like that full jacket, she just wears like the cape sort of cloak deal. So during one of the scenes when she throws the snakes, it's just snakes. Like the cloak is wide open, like there's no arm whatsoever. It's like her arm was just replaced and snakes were just shooting out of her torso. And I was like, I've never, like it weirded me out because I actually noticed it, and I was like, her arm's not there at all. It's just snakes shooting out. So it was so funny seeing that because I was like, I've never really thought that hard about it. I always just kind of thought, back in the day, it was just like, yeah, they're just like a little summoning jutsu. They're up the sleeve or in the body or something. And I think they've shown that before with other characters where they do like summoning of certain bugs. It's kind of like with Shino, even though they're in his body. But people that do summon like smaller creatures, they typically can come out of their body depending on what the creature is. But when they showed it, it was just like, holy crap, it's weird. Like her arm was just gone. And I don't, that probably would have been more animation if they did individually draw a snake coming out of an arm compared to just, let's just chop the arm off and have them shooting out the torso. But it was just weird actually seeing it. But it was still, it didn't like take me out of the scene. It was just like, something I've never gone in depth, like, what does it look like when they, summon the snakes and stuff. But in this instance, it was just, boom, let's chop the arm off, let's just draw the snake shooting out, quick scene, and then that was it. But I definitely noticed, so I wanted to kind of mention that. But the action was definitely great there. Unfortunately, the final fight of this episode was Mitsuki versus Shino, which we don't actually get to see. So that was really sad, but I'll admit it definitely had me excited. Just them like teasing that idea, or not, I was about to say Orochimaru, but Mitsuki going into what he did was Sage Mode. Like he has his own Sage Mode. I don't know, like they're probably gonna get back to that so far from now. It's not even a spoiler, but that's just what it is. He just has a Sage Mode. So that was like what the blue glow was. That's his Sage mode. And I was like, holy crap, he's about to go Sage mode. And I love this scene with Shino where he's like, I guess I'll have to get a little bit more serious here. And the bugs start to come out, and the way they spiral around him, I just thought looked really cool, where they were like going like in a loop to cover him up. I thought that was a cool little scene. And then of course they cut away to a different fight, and then they come back and the fight's over. And I was like, oh, I really wanted to see some epic like Mitsuki Sage mode versus like hardcore Shino. I would have loved to have seen that, but unfortunately, we don't get to see that. Mitsuki, he ultimately wins the fight. But I love the way that they ended it, where it was like technically Mitsuki won, but he was like, he was when he was talking to Shino, it was like, I know, like you say that I'm really powerful. It's like I really am Orochimaru's son, but I know you still had some bugs inside of you. And Shino was kind of just like, well, I can't actually kill my student, And I thought that was a really cool way to have Mitsuki win, but still acknowledge the fact that Shino is super powerful. Like, they didn't degrade his character through that loss. Like, they did it in the dialogue by saying he could have won if he wanted to, but this was not a to the death sort of battle. Like, he reached this cap, and it was like, at this cap, I can't beat Mitsuki, but if I go past this, not only will I win, but I'll kill him. Like, there was no in-between where it's like, I'll lose here, but I'll win here. It was either I'll lose here, and I'll win here by killing him, and that was all there was to it. So I like the fact that they kind of threw that in. They didn't like degrade his character, but that just shows how powerful he is. Like, even Mitsuki being young, he's insanely powerful. Like, we've seen him. He's got like 100 million different techniques when he's fighting against people, and then you throw Sage mode on top of that. Like, if he could use Sage mode, or if he did use Sage mode like all the time, that last arc would have been insanely different, because he probably could have taken all those people out. At least most of them single-handedly, because of Sage mode. Like, he's already powerful enough, and then you throw Sage mode on top of that, and it's just like, he could have taken out a couple of those people, by himself if he wanted to. But I like the way that they handled that. I thought it was pretty cool. Like I said, all the action was well done. The nostalgia was definitely great. Them having Kakashi come back with the bells, and there's that big question now, like, is it really going to be pass-fail like it used to be? Because I was like, sure, when it's 3 people, it's just pass-fail. But now it's like an entire class that's pass-fail. But as he pointed out, it was like, we don't really need ninja that much. Like, we're not in dire straits anymore. It's the age of peace at this point. So I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, he's not wrong, so they could still do the pass-fail thing, but are they really going to do that for an entire class? And ultimately, nobody's going to fail anyway. If any one person failed, I would really be shocked. But I assume that everyone's going to pass. Most of the kids are working together anyway at this point to take on Anko. And then you have Sada and Sumidi, where Sada, well, they both figured out, like, if, passing you up was the right thing to do to go after Kakashi, then you wouldn't have let Boruto pass you so easily. So, like, the kids are figuring out stuff. It's not just 3 kids on their own. It's like the whole team is working, the whole class is working together. One theory that I had was maybe this is how they decide the 3-man squads, because there was like, it's the whole class instead of just doing the 3-man squads, and then you go to that. I thought that was really cool, because I was like, they could totally do it this way, where it's like, alright, we saw how you guys kind of banded together, where it was like, you chose what 3-man squad you're going to be in, because we saw Iwabe, Denki, and Metal Lee stay together, Shikicho team, of course, Satoru, Boruto, and Mitsuki were like together when they were all kind of running in a line, and then they split up. But Sumidi was with the other 2 girls, and it was like, you could see that they had those 3-man squads already in there. So it would be cool if that was how they made the squads now, compared to where it was just like this random person, is teamed up with this random person. It's like we saw the kids bond together, like they formed their own relationships as kids do in school, and these are who they chose to fight alongside as far as their 3-man squads. So that's how it's going to be. So I don't know if they'll do that, but I think that would be a really cool way. It was like, you guys basically subconsciously already chose your 3-man squads when you were doing the competition or the graduation exam. So that might be how they do it. But either way, going into this next episode, I'm excited for some more action. Seeing how everything plays out. Like I said, I'm sure everything will be totally fine. They're going to win. But would love to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. And I would love to know what you guys want to see from the next episode of the exam. I don't know if this is going to just be 2 parts. I feel like it could really work well if they expanded it and it did go on to 3 parts. But it's already down to Anko, Kakashi, and Konohamaru. Even though they're strong, I don't know if it would last long enough for the kids to stretch out to 3 episodes, because they could destroy the kids if they want to, but it's that weird training. It's like they aren't going easy on them, but they aren't like trying to kill them. So I don't know if we should expect 3 episodes, but I think it could definitely work out pretty well if they stretch it out that way. But we'll love to know what you guys want to see from the rest of this graduation exam, and like I said, just want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.